Hey everybody, welcome back to the Black and Rowdy Show. Oh, nice to see all of you. Man, the holidays are around the corner. I'm so excited to see my family, my friends back in Texas. So I'm definitely looking forward to the holiday for sure. So to kick us off this week is I wanted to talk about Black-owned businesses and to be more specific, Black women-owned businesses. I wanted to feature that because I think that needs to be out in the universe. There needs to be more awareness. There needs to be more, backing, more support. And I just wanted to definitely highlight these two wonderful women that are doing their thing, making their business happen, and we're going to pick their brains and just kind of get to know them and get to know, what started the business and all their different directions are going to go in the future. So if you don't mind welcoming Billy and Danielle, and of course Arian, who is my co-host, my ever so amazing co-host. Hello everyone. Go ahead and turn on your video and your audio on. Thank you for coming. I appreciate I appreciate you all coming out. So it's just going to be kind of like a chit chat just about, your business. And so I'm going to go around, just tell me, what your business is and what got you started, what was the catalyst to getting it started, so anybody can start.
Okay. So I'm Danielle Pierce, and I have, I guess you could say, two fashion businesses. I started as a swimwear designer, and I wanted to design swimwear that was more modest but still sexy.
Oh.
Like, because when you go to stores, you see like teeny bikinis and then like granny suits. So there was like nothing in between. Yeah. So that's where I started. And now I have a line of stretch African print fabrics, and that's more of what I'm working on right now. So, yep, that's the nutshell.
Okay, very cool. I think that's cool because I didn't even think about that. You're right. Like in the stores, you do have literally those two options, and then the kid wear. So it's like I totally get it. Like, yeah, you want something kind of sexy, but not too much,
Right.
So I get it. Yeah, I appreciate that.
The same time not being outdated. So yes,
Exactly.
you get something in the middle that gives people more options, more choices.
I think the vintage look is still sexy to me, though, right?
Yeah, but
like that whole high waist.
Right.
Yeah,
that's cute. But
But in nice fabrics, though, and nice prints, because
right.
especially if you're a woman a little larger, like I totally relate to what you're saying, because I'll go to get a swimsuit and it's covered in flowers, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't.
Right. And that's kind of like my thing when I say outdated.
Yes.
Like you're not keeping up with the times of like, because I love vintage, but I also want it to be in fun, fashionable colors, nice, cool prints,
Yes.
And I don't necessarily want something that makes me feel like I'm naked on the beach.
Exactly. Yes. With my kids. I'm on the beach with my kids. I don't want to be naked on the beach.
Feeling all exposed.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly. Yep.
So Billy, tell us about your business.
Well, my husband and I, we own a food truck business. It's called Tasty Balls and More. We've been in operation for about 2 years. We started with tables and tents and 2 fryers, and then we've evolved into an actual food truck now. But the passion for cooking, it's just always been a part of our family. My husband and I both grew up with our parents teaching us how to cook. It was something that we did every afternoon when we came home from school. So we actually had started a catering company in 2010, and we just didn't have the manpower to kind of keep it going. We both still worked full time, so we had to kind of let it go.
Yeah.
And we just revisited, back in 2019, my husband had the idea of a food truck. At first, we were kind of thinking we had to have a restaurant, something brick and mortar. And he was like, man, if we would have thought about this, 10 years ago, we would have already been going. So the food truck actually it was a perfect way for us to get our food out there and for us to get ourselves back into this business, into the food business.
Wow, that's really cool. So to segue into that is what what initially got you on the path to doing a food truck versus like a restaurant or back to what you were doing before?
Well, and that's what we thought, getting into this, we were thinking, well, we knew we didn't want a full-blown restaurant, but we were like, maybe just a small eatery. So our mindset was stuck on brick and mortar. But as we evolved and came into, learning more about it, seeing more about it on Food Network, they had the great truck race, watching more of those kind of shows, it kind of like made it more like, okay, well, we can do this in a different way. We don't actually have to have a building. We could, get this truck and be mobile and still be able to cook and do all the things that we were wanting to do.
Yeah. Okay. And Danielle, what was the same question for you? What started it for you? What was the thing that pushed you forward?
I guess you would say sort of my family. So my family has been in the tailoring business for almost 100 years now.
Wow.
So yeah, and so I'm very proud of that. I've always grown up in a environment where entrepreneurship is the goal. So I started when I was in college still. Back in 2010, 2011, I just started, putting my designs on Etsy just to see what would happen. And probably 2012 was when things really started, catching on. And I was just like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to have my own business. I want to, create something new, bring something new into the world. So that just kind of drove me because I want to, make my family proud, I guess you could say. Just continue the legacy.
Yeah.
I have a question. Like, and this can be for either one of you guys to respond to at any given point, but like funding your business. Like, how did you guys come about that? What resources did you tap into to come across the money and the funds that you needed to get the business started and flowing?
Good question. Yeah.
Well, I can say for us, my husband is prior military. He retired from the Army. So we had a lot of resources that were available to us because of that venue. We did spend a lot of money out of pocket. Like I said, we both were still working. So we did invest a lot of our own money. But when it came to securing a loan, it did help that he was retired military. We were able to tap into those resources through the Veterans Affairs to help us get the business off the ground.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Cool. So with me, I have two different experiences. So when I was starting my clothing line, it was just whatever I could put into it, and everything I profited from the business, I would just put right back into it. Now, when it came to me relaunching my fabric business, I went through Kickstarter. So I ran a Kickstarter campaign. So yes, I put in a little bit of my money, but my customers and people who wanted to see African stretch fabrics, become a thing, they really, helped me get it started again. So I'd have no experience with loans and things like that, but the crowdfunding for many, ideas is really a viable option. So
cool. Yeah. I think that's good to know. I don't feel like a lot of people tap into those options, either maybe out of the lack of awareness or awareness and knowledge, but it's cool to know. But that's nice that you were able to start it that way. And then the same for you, Billy, being able to tap into the resources that you guys had available as well.
Right. And a lot of veterans don't realize that for veterans, they pay for you to be able to redo your career. Like if you're going to change careers, there's programs for veterans where they can, have schooling paid for so they can be trained for another position. So there's a lot of resources out there for veterans. And I think for our age group, that's the one thing that we try to spread that information on, because a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. And what for people that are starting out trying to find funding, do you have any idea, like what tips can you give people that are looking for funding, like any websites or anything like that?
I don't know of any websites. I know here in San Antonio they have, through the city of San Antonio, they have a small business group that you can go to get information from, and we've explored that. But as far as any websites or anything like that, I've just really we've gone through the city just for the programs that they've had.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And they
And
kind of lay it out for you. They kind of give you like a roadmap to kind of follow. So it's very helpful.
Oh, good. Yeah, because I
That
was
is good to
wondering about
know.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, because I was like, okay, so what do you do after that? Like, you know.
Yeah.
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 What are the next steps?
Yeah, like
Okay,
Yeah,
I
they
did
give
this,
you,
but what
it's nice.
direction do I have to go in?
And the biggest thing they always tell you is start with the business plan. So that was like the biggest thing for us because we're like, what? Like, but you have to map out where, like you're saying, you're questioning like where you're starting at, where you see yourself going, and the in between. So that was something that we weren't really looking like, man, we got to do this, but it was really helpful just to get ourselves in a mindset of where we want to go.
yeah, definitely. That's
And
so
it helps with investors when you have your business plan because it shows them that you have a plan, that you know where the end in mind is.
yeah, that's so good. I know me and Arian have talked about doing a business for a while, right? Like
Yeah.
so we just haven't gotten the right idea. I think that's the biggest thing is finding
Or the more passionate
but yeah,
idea.
something that
Yes.
we're both passionate about. You know, I've thought about the food truck. I thought about, but it's like I live in New York, Arian lives in Texas, so it's like, okay, how are we gonna do that? You know. So
Yes.
anyway, yeah, we've definitely tapped into thinking about like, okay, so what's the, what's
And
the
it
idea?
has to be a passion, I will say that, because especially with cooking, it's a lot of hard work and it has to be something that you definitely are okay with putting that time and effort into. We were watching the chef show the other night, and the guy was like, "Oh, every chef loves to peel potatoes," and I was like, "Who said that? What
Right.
chef said that?"
I mean,
Because
I like to
our
cook, but that's
product,
that's the
right?
last thing I want to keep doing is peeling
It's
potatoes.
peeling
But you know,
potatoes,
Yeah.
and our product is potato based, so we peel a lot of potatoes. But it was just
Oh.
funny. I heard that, and I was like, I love to cook, so I don't mind putting in the time and effort. But I was like, I'm not gonna say I love peeling potatoes.
Right.
Yeah. But what hurdles have you both had to go through? What was the let's narrow it down. What was the biggest hurdle that you really had to overcome in order to make it successful?
I'd probably say for me, we're a family owned business. My husband and I work together. My daughter works with us as well. She's 16, and we're trying to build that entrepreneur mindset in her.
Mm.
And she's with this time of COVID and learning from home, she has definitely gravitated toward wanting something of her own. So we're just trying to cultivate that kind of culture for her. I will say for me, the biggest hurdle was just that, like we're in close quarters, we're in, close contact. I'm a little, I'm a Virgo, so I'm a little neat freak. And so we had to just overcome some obstacles of just working closely together because we're going to be together every day, doing
Yeah.
this day in and day out. So for me, it was just, making the priority to know what's important, putting the little things that irritate you or whatever aside and working past that so you can get to the goal of what your business is about. And we want to put out good food. Our goal is to put out good food to people. We want to bring joy to people. So at the end of the day, it's putting ourselves aside and making that the focus and the goal.
Nice.
So for me, being in like a creative business, which I think pretty much every business is creative, but me coming from the design side, once you decide to have a clothing line, you have a business. And a lot of us, we're so into the design part, this fabric and the concept and the flow and the collection, and the marketing is not up to par. So you can have the best product in the world, but if you're not marketing it right, if you're not reaching the right people, like it's just going to fall on deaf ears. And probably, let's say I started in 2012, probably by 2016, 16, I was running into like a slump, and I had to take a step back and like realize that like the people on my Facebook are not my target customers. So
Exactly.
how do I get to them? Like,
Right.
so that was a huge like obstacle that I ran into. So it's just, you gotta, the fashion part, you know, that's easy for creative people, but the actual business and marketing side of it, you have to learn how to be creative in that space.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I have two questions,
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
but no, go ahead. If you were going to say a piece, I apologize.
Well, I was just going to add to that, like the marketing piece of it. We found like joining different organizations and networking and meeting other people who are, maybe that's their thing. You know, our thing is cooking. We don't, we don't have the marketing side, but then we join networking groups that we've met people that is what they do. So then we've been able to work together, and then they've taught us things and shown us things that we could do to help market us better. So my thing is talking to people, like talking to other businesses, getting information, asking questions, and you'll run across people who don't want to give you any information, because we definitely have, but we just keep going asking questions, because eventually we have come across people who are like, hey, yeah, I was where you were 5 years ago, and this is what I have to do.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I can definitely attest to that. I'm a knowledge seeker regardless. So anything I get interested in or something I just want to know, I'm always asking questions, never afraid to do that. But even when thinking about venturing into business, I've come across that where I got some people that were a little testy, and I'm like, no, I'm not trying to ask you what you do specifically. I'm not trying to go in your realm, but I just need insight, seeing as I don't have no foundation business wise yet, but I've come across that myself.
Yeah.
Just trying to initially seek knowledge first. I haven't even officially started, but
yes,
real. That's the biggest thing, is trying to get that knowledge. Like, I was watching a forum and watching videos and YouTube and yada, yada, yada. And what was one of the things they said was marketing. Like, you got to know who your audience is. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna write that down and make sure I remember that, going forward. So yeah, I think like you're right, Billy and Danielle, you both brought up good points about tapping into not only your resources, but like networking, finding out like what other people are doing, and I think that's so key. And the people that you've talked to, I'm sorry, Erin, did you have another question before?
No, I did.
I'm
but
sorry.
it was good.
Why don't you answer it before?
Go ahead.
Before I say
you guys had tapped into kind of answering the question about marketing, so I appreciate that. One of the other questions I had was, had there been a time that you ever wanted to give up, and what kept you going? What helped you overcome that and keep going as an entrepreneur?
Good question.
And either one at any time.
I don't think so far that since we've gotten started in the last 2 years, that was back in 2010 when we started back then, and it was really hard to give up because we had a good product, we had customers, we just didn't have the manpower, and that goes along with what you're saying about just getting that initial knowledge. We had the passion to cook, but we didn't know how to run the business. So you have to have both of those components together. So I really feel like God brought us from that point to now, and we've met people along the way. We've gotten information along the way to where we're able to do it now, and we have both components. So we gave up in 20, and I don't even want to say gave up. I feel like the dream was always still there. We just, you get caught up in daily working life and things happen. So I feel like it was always there, because if it wasn't still there, we wouldn't be where we are right now today.
I guess we can call it you took a slight pause.
Exactly.
We'll just call it that.
Slight detour.
That's
right.
Yeah, so true. And that's okay. That is
right, exactly.
Yes.
A slight detour and then come right back, right?
Yes.
I've been there.
For me, it's all about God's timing. So it was all about us learning what we needed to learn to be where we are right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And quick question for both of you. What was the idea behind the name of the business?
So it took me when I was trying to name my clothing line, I went through so many names, and to explain the process that I used to get to the final name is kind of weird, but it's just a word that was made up that is based out of my name. But then when I looked up the etymology of it, it was perfect. So the name of my clothing line was Denalia by Danielle Pierce. And when I looked it up, it meant special and happy.
I
And
like that.
I like that.
yeah, like I like bright colors and pretty, bold prints and things. So I was like, that is perfect. So
It
it just
really is.
worked
It
out.
embodies it. Plus,
Yeah.
the name to me just sounds elegant.
It
Yeah.
does. It does.
It sounds like a clothing line. Yes. It
You're like,
does.
ooh, did you get that new Denali piece? Like,
Yes.
that sounds
Right.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, for us, my husband came up with the name, and I wasn't thrilled about it at first. Kim, you know me, the first thing I was like, everybody at church is going to be like, oh my God. But it's a catchy name. It tells what we make. It's very straightforward. Tasty balls, and that's what we make. They're potato balls. It's a recipe that he had came up with from something that he used to eat when growing up in Tampa, Florida. So it definitely describes what our truck is and what we're selling. And I had to get over I had to get over that part, but it's catchy now. And as far as the people from church, they've come out to the truck, so I guess they don't really care about the name.
But it
I
is
love
memorable
that
though.
name.
Yeah.
It is catchy. It
It'll
is.
stick to
Yeah. It grabs your attention,
Yes.
Exactly, which is the
and
point.
that's what he was going for.
Exactly. And I think I agree. You want that attention, right?
Yes.
So people can come check you out. And I will definitely have to come check you out when I come to Texas this month.
Yeah, and I need to make a point of checking you out. So
Yes.
Right?
yeah, I'll find
Yes,
my way.
because I saw you
I'm
on
here.
Food Network that one time. You were like,
Okay, so everybody tells me about that, but that was purely accidental. But yeah, like you were on TV.
Yes.
I was like, on what? And I'm like, but once they told me, I was like, oh yeah. But it was the food was good too.
See.
Oh my goodness. So I thought the last portion of this talk, you could just kind of talk about, basically advertise for your business, like, hey, come on out to blah, 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 or, whatever the case. I'm definitely going to have your information on my post so people can check you out. But you can say if you think, or you cannot. It's really up to you. But I just want to give you that platform just to kind of talk about your business if you'd like.
Well, now,
no, go ahead, Danielle. Go ahead.
Sorry. So right now, my clothing line is actually on pause. I needed to take a step back and reevaluate some things because it's easy to get burnt out as an entrepreneur, and I was just going in a million different directions. So while I put my clothing line on pause, I am still going headstrong into my African stretch fabric. So I'm going to be adding some new fabrics, some new fabric types, because since I started as a swimwear designer, that's the first type of fabric I created. So because it just didn't exist. So I want to branch out into, different fabric types and sewing patterns. And I am starting on Friday. I will finally drop my very first video for Fashion for Real. I've wanted to start a YouTube channel to help emerging designers start their clothing lines because I didn't really have any help. I was just winging it when I was, graduated from college. So I wanted to answer the questions that you really, it's hard information, and it's really things that you learn as you go through it. Because a lot of times the fashion industry is very, like, it's sugar coated, like everything seems so glamorous and easy, and it is not. So that's all I wanted to put out there. So.
Yeah, thank you. Definitely.
Well, for us, we got the only tasty balls in San Antonio.
Yes.
So I encourage everyone to come out and try it because it's different. We live in a city where, every corner there's a taco truck. You can get Mexican food anywhere and it's great. I love it, but we definitely wanted to put out something different. And I feel like we have that. We have a good, product. We do about 16 different variations of this ball.
Oh, wow.
My daughter, she even, she bakes. So she does chocolate truffles for us and brownies for us that we sell. So I encourage everyone. My husband tells everybody when they come out, you've never tasted anything like this before. And that's the truth. That's the truth. So we just, like I said, we are wanting to put out good food. We want to spread some joy. We feel blessed to be able to do this. And like you, Danielle, we want to give out information. We're telling everybody, if you're a veteran, we're telling you to go to your Veterans Administration, get that information. We've had so many people just come up and ask us about starting a food truck. Yeah. My husband does not hold back. As a matter of fact, he talks too much sometimes, but he will put it all out there because there's enough money out there for all of us to make. There's enough success for all of us. So we just feel like it's a blessing for us to be able to do it. So we want to be a blessing to someone else. And, God has been bringing the people to the counter. So we're just going to keep praying for that.
Yeah, that's.
And where are you located?
So right now during COVID, we have found that a lot of subdivisions have food truck nights. So right now, that's kind of what carried us over the summer and what gave us the faith to actually step out, and we're going to go full time with this in January. So since July, we've only been working on the weekends, right? But it's been enough business for us to decide that, hey, we can actually do this on a daily basis.
Wow.
Come January, we're going to be food trucking it full time. But right now what we do is we just post out on our social media on the places that we're going to be at. We try to get it out there at least 2 to 3 days before the event that we're going to be at, and then the day of. And then we've also joined, like I said, a lot of networking groups and they have social media pages, so they allow us to advertise on their page too. So I'll make a post on our pages, we share it on these other pages, and that helps to get the word out. So we've literally had people come up to the counter that have strictly followed us on Facebook and they know where we're at because they're on our page.
Oh wow, that's smart.
Yes.
Cool. That's exciting. That's really exciting. Full time.
For both of you guys. I look forward to checking out the YouTube channel too, Miss Danielle.
Oh
yes.
Oh,
and the swimsuits, I definitely do.
Yeah. I've actually seen some of hers, and it's really nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And drop me the link so I can definitely, like I said, post it and have other people kind of see what's going on and check you guys out.
Definitely.
But yeah, I definitely want to close with just thank you for both of you coming on the show, talking about your businesses. I think it's so important for Black-owned businesses, Black women in specifically, to talk about their businesses and just have other people see that it's possible. You just need to tap into resources. You need to look at all the different things that are out there to really help promote your business. Like you say, like marketing is important. Having Billy, you said something about finding an idea that you're passionate about is very important. These are all nuggets of gold, people. So if you are trying to start your own business, check these women out on Facebook and check out their links so you can get some ideas going. I'm definitely all about the entrepreneurship. Eventually, me and Arian, you know. So we're eventually gonna get there. It's just right now, it's like I'm on the detour right now.
Yeah.
Well, know that it loops around.
Right.
It comes back around. We're
gonna
continue
to work on
to that.
Individual ventures as well as joint ventures. So I'm all about it.
Exactly. We're just like, okay, we need some time to really flesh this out. But anyways, thank you ladies for coming on the show, and I appreciate both of you talking about these things, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.